Hello everyone. Welcome to the next lecture of NLPP with two inequality constants. In my last lecture, we have seen NLPP with one inequality constants, and we have seen the method of Kuhn-Tucker conditions has been used with 6 conditions. So here we have two inequality constants, that's why there are total 8 Kuhn-Tucker conditions. So let's see how to solve such examples using this method. So we have first working rule on the similar line like 6 conditions or the method of one inequality constants. So let k is equal to z minus lambda 1 h1 minus lambda 2 h2, where two eigenvalues lambda 1 and lambda 2 are being used, and h1 and h2 are the two inequality constants. Okay? Then we find partial derivative of k, this equation, with respect to x1, and we equate it to 0. Then we call it equation 1. Then we find out partial derivative of k with respect to x2, and when we equate it to 0, we get another equation, call it equation number 2. Then we have third equation, that is lambda 1 into h1 equal to 0. Then lambda 2 into h2 equal to 0. In previous method, we had only lambda into h is equal to 0, and then we had two cases, that either lambda 0 or h 0. But here, since there are two conditions, we have additional equation, that is lambda 2 h2 equal to 0. Then we have h1 less than or equal to 0, then h2 less than or equal to 0. These are nothing but the given constants. And then x1, x2 should be non-negative, lambda 1 and lambda 2 should be 0 or positive for maxima, and if they are negative or 0, then objective function has minima. Okay, now you can see that lambda 1 and lambda 2 are equal to 0 is common in both. So that time we have another method to decide whether function is at maxima or minima. I repeat, this both conditions contains one thing common, that is what if lambda 1 and lambda 2 both are 0. Okay, then we have Hessian matrix to decide maxima and minima. So starting from serial number 2 to 9, these are the 8 conditions called as Kuhn-Tucker conditions. Okay, now with the help of example, we discuss all these conditions. Okay, and we solve 4 cases here. That is, if both lambda 1 and lambda 2 are 0. Second, lambda 1 is 0, lambda 2 is not. Third, lambda 1 is not equal to 0, but lambda 2 is 0. And fourth, if both are non-zero, what will happen? Okay, before that, let's understand, as we have already discussed, that what if both are 0, lambda 1 and lambda 2. So if both are 0, then corresponding x1 and x2 satisfies all above 8 conditions. If all these 8 conditions are satisfied, then we have to find out whether function has maxima or minima, and for that we find out Hessian matrix denoted by H, and it's a matrix of zx1 x1, zx1 x2, zx2 x1 and zx2 x2. This is nothing but partial derivative of z. Z is objective function here. So partial derivative of z with respect to x1 two times. This is first derivative with respect to x2 and then second with respect to x1. Then this is partial derivative of z with respect to x1 first and then x2, and last is two derivatives of z with respect to x2, of course partial. Okay, then we find out principal determinants, that is we find out sign of zx1 x1 for positive and negative, and we call it as a1. Then we find out sign of determinant of h, that is determinant of this given matrix. Then we have two cases, that either both are negative, either both are positive, or we have alternate sign. Okay, so if they are alternate in sign, we have z maxima. If they are all positive or all negative, we have minima. Okay, so in the example we have discussed this in detail. So let's see first example. Find the optimum value of the objective function z equal to 10x1 plus 10x2 minus x1 square minus x2 square, subject to x1 plus x2 less than or equal to 14 minus x1 plus x2 less than or equal to 6, where x1 and x2 non-negative. So we can see, because of x1 square and x2 square, this is non-linear, and because of two inequality constraints, this is of Kuhn-Tucker conditions type. Okay, so let's call these two conditions as h1 and h2 by shifting RHS to LHS. Now we have K is equal to Z minus lambda 1 H1 minus lambda 2 H2. So by putting this H1, H2 and Z, we get this equation of K. Okay. Now we start with the Tucker condition. We have derivative of K with respect to x1 equal to 0 as equation 1. So if we differentiate this equation with respect to x1, we get a 10 here. This contains no x1, that's why 0. Then by differentiating K with respect to x2, we get derivative of this with respect to x2 is a 10, then minus 2x2, and then minus lambda 1 into x2 is minus lambda 1, and minus plus minus lambda 2 x2 is minus lambda 2 is equal to 0. All other terms which contains no x2 are constant. Okay. Now lambda 1 into h1 is equal to 0 gives us equation number 3. Lambda 2 h2 equal to 0 is equation number 4. H1 should be less than or equal to 0 is nothing but the first constraint as equation 5. H2 less than or equal to 0 is the second constraint as equation 6. X1 and x2 should be non-negative, equation number 7, and lambda 1 and lambda 2 should be non-negative, equation number 8. So these 8 numbered equations are called Tucker's 8 condition. Okay, now let's solve one by one. We have condition 3 and 4 to be solved. It gives us 4 cases, either lambda 1 0 and lambda 2 0, one of them 0 and both are non-zero, like that. So we have case 1, what if both are 0? So if lambda 1 and lambda 2 both are 0, by putting these values 0 in 1 and 2, we get 10 minus 2x1 equal to 0 and 10 minus 2x2 equal to 0. By solving them, we get x1 and x2 both as 5. Okay, so if you see, we got these values from equation 1 and 2. We are solving the condition 3 and 4. Both are positive. 5 and 5 both are positive. Lambda 1 and lambda 2 are 0. That's why 8th condition is also satisfied. So only we have to check condition 5 and 6. Therefore, 5 plus 5, 10. 10 less than or equal to 14. That's why 5th condition is satisfied. And this is minus 5 plus 5, which is 0 and is less than or equal to 6. It's true. That's why 6th condition is also satisfied. So all conditions are satisfied by this x1 and x2. Okay, now we have to check then function has minima or maxima at this point, because lambda 1 equal to 0 and lambda 2 equal to 0 is a common condition for maxima and minima. So additional calculation is required here, and that is Hessian matrix. So we fill this matrix. So we differentiate z with respect to x1 2 times. So with respect to x1 2 times gives us first derivative of z is a 10 minus 2x1 and second derivative is minus 2. Similarly, derivative of z with respect to x2 is 10 minus 2x2 and second derivative is minus 2 only, and rest of the elements are 0. So minus 2, 0, 0 and minus 2. So sign of first element is minus 2 and sign of determinant of whole matrix is 4. It's minus 2 into minus 2 minus 0. That's why it's plus 4. So minus 2 and plus 4 we have alternate in sign. That's why z has maxima at 5, 5. And we put these values of x1 and x2 into objective function to get corresponding z maximum, which is 50 at x1 equal to 5 and x2 equal to 5. Okay. Now we have got the answer, but still we have to check all other cases. That is, now lambda 1 is a non-zero or one of them is non-zero, and the last condition is what if both are 0. So we have case 2 here, that lambda 1 is non-zero and lambda 2 is 0. So we update this lambda 2 equal to 0 in equation 1. So we get 10 minus 2x1 minus lambda 1 equal to 0, and second equation gives us 10 minus 2x2 minus lambda 1 equal to 0. If we subtract them, we get a removal of lambda 1. So we get the corresponding equation as x1 minus x2 equal to 0, or we have x1 is equal to x2. So we got one equation in x1 and x2. We need one more equation in x1 and x2 so that we can solve them simultaneously. So we have first condition, that is lambda 1 is a non-zero. So if you see condition number 3, lambda 1 is a non-zero, so obviously this bracket must be 0, and therefore we get x1 plus x2 is equal to 14. So we get two equations in x1 and x2 from equation number 3 and 4. So we get here x1 plus x2 is equal to 14. But as x1 and x2 are equal, we have 2x1 equal to 14 and we get x1 equal to 7 and hence x2. So we got both positive. So our one of the condition that x1 and x2 must be non-negative is satisfied. Lambda 1 is non-zero, so we have to find out lambda 1 first, whether it is negative or positive. So once x1 and x2 are obtained by equation 1 or 2, we can obtain corresponding lambda 1 because lambda 2 is 0 and we got it as minus 4, but it is negative. So since one of the lambda is negative, method fails here. That condition 8 is not satisfied, that all lambdas, both of the lambdas should be 0 or positive. That's why we reject this case in maximality. Now we have case 3 that now lambda 1 is 0 and lambda 2 is not. So if we update this lambda 1 equal to 0, equation 1 gives us 10 minus 2x1 plus lambda 2 equal to 0 and 2 gives us another equation. So if we add them, we get one equation in x1 and x2 as equation A. We need one more equation to solve for x1 and x2. So we update here if lambda 2 is a non-zero. So if we see equation number 4, if lambda 2 is a non-zero, so definitely this bracket term must be 0 as their product is 0. Therefore, minus x1 plus x2 must be 6. And therefore, minus x1 plus 2x2 equal to 6 gives us equation number B. So if we solve A and B simultaneously, we get x2 value 8 and x1 value 2. So x1 and x2 are again positive. So seventh condition is satisfied. Lambda 2 is a non-zero, so we have to find out lambda 2 value and we get it as minus 6 from equation number 1. So again lambda value we got negative. So condition 8 is not fulfilling, that's why we reject this case. Now we have the last case, that is case number 4, that both are non-zero. If lambda 1 and lambda 2 both are non-zero, equation 3 and 4 gives us that this bracket term then must be 0. So we get x1 plus x2 equal to 14 minus x1 plus x2 is equal to 6. So if we solve them, we get x2 value 10 and we put x2 value in one of these equation to get corresponding x1. So we get x1 as 4, x2 as 10, both are non-negative. That's why seventh condition is satisfied. But still we have seen here that lambda 1 and lambda 2 are non-zero. So obviously we have to find them. Once we have x1 and x2 value, equation 1 and 2 gives us two equations in lambda 1 and lambda 2. If we solve them simultaneously, we get lambda 1 as minus 4 and lambda 2 as minus 6. Since both lambdas are negative, eighth condition is not satisfied. So we reject fourth case also. We rejected second, third and fourth case. Only in first case we got z maximum as 50 at x1 equal to 5 and x2 is equal to 5, and the case was when both lambda 1 and lambda 2 equal to 0. We have one more example on this, that is using Kuhn-Tucker method. Solve following NLPP. So maximize x1 square plus x2 square subject to x1 plus x2 less than or equal to 4 and 2x1 plus x2 less than or equal to 5 for non-negative x1 x2. So as usual we have taken a k as a z minus lambda 1 h1 minus lambda 2 h2 and z h1 and h2, where h1 and h2 are nothing but the constants, inequalities. So first 8 conditions we obtain as 8 equations. So differentiating k with respect to x1 and equate it to 0 gives us, so differentiation of this bracket with respect to x1 is a 2x1, derivative of x2 square is a 0 as there is no x1 term, it's constant for x1. We are partially differentiating. So when we open the brackets, we get minus lambda 1 x1. So only minus lambda 1 is the derivative of it. Then other terms are constant for x1. And we have here minus 2 lambda 2 x1's derivative minus 2 lambda 2. And this equation is equation number 1. Then we have dou k upon dou x2 is equal to 0 as equation number 2. Then similarly, lambda 1 into h1 product is 0, equation number 3. Lambda 2 into h2, this h1 and h2 are nothing but the constants. So this product equal to 0, equation number 4. h1 is less than or equal to 0, equation number 5. h2 less than or equal to 0, equation number 6. x1 and x2 non-negative, equation number 7. And lambda 1 and lambda 2 non-negative, that condition number 8. So such 8 conditions we have called as Kuhn-Tucker conditions. Now let's see, by solving 3 and 4 we have 4 cases. either lambda 1 and lambda 2 both are 0. Second case is both are non-zero, and third case is one of them is 0. So let's start with first case, when both are 0. When both are 0, we have from equation 1 and 2 only 2x1 equal to 0 and 2x2 equal to 0 gives us x1 and x2 both are 0. When all variables are 0, such solution is called as trivial solution. I repeat, when all variables are 0, they always satisfy all the conditions, and that's why such solution is called 0, and also we get z value at such variable 0. That's why this solution is called trivial solution. We got z equal to 0. Then we have case 2, that lambda 1 not equal to 0 and lambda 2 is equal to 0. Since lambda 2 equal to 0, if we update this into equation 1 and 2, we get 2x1 minus lambda 1 equal to 0, and second gives us 2x2 minus lambda 1 0. It means we get lambda 1 equal to 2x1 and lambda 1 equal to 2x2. That's why x1 is equal to x2, a relation between two variables. Moreover, we have lambda 1 if non-zero. If lambda 1 is non-zero but this product is 0 gives us this bracket must be 0. That's why we get x1 plus x2 equal to 4, and therefore x1 plus x2 equal to 4 gives us, if we update x1 equal to x2 here, we get 2x2 is equal to 4, and that's why x2 is equal to 2 and hence x1 equal to 2. So we get both x1 and x2 as 2 which are positive. So we have x lambda 2 0 which is 0 or positive condition, x1 and x2 both are 2 which are positive, so these three are satisfying the condition. Now lambda 1 is non-zero, so we have to first find out the value of lambda 1. So putting these x1 x2 values in 1 or 2, we get corresponding lambda 1 which is 4, so which is also positive. So all these variables are satisfying 7th and 8th condition. But if we check 5th and 6th condition for x1 and x2 equal to 2, 5th condition gives us 2 plus 2 equal to 4 and 4 is less than or equal to 4. So 5th condition is satisfied. But 6th condition is 2 into 2 which is 4, 4 plus 2 is 6, and we are getting 6 less than or equal to 5 which is absurd. That's why 6th condition is not satisfied for this pair of values. Therefore, we reject this pair. Now case 3 is, now lambda 1 is 0 and lambda 2 is not. So if lambda 1 is 0, if we update this in equation 1 and 2, we get x1 equal to lambda 2 and lambda 2 is equal to 2x2. Okay. Now second condition, that is lambda 2 is non-zero. If we see lambda 2 is non-zero, but this product is a 0 from condition number 4. So since lambda 2 is non-zero, this bracket must be 0. So we get relation in x1 and x2 as 2x1 plus x2 is equal to 5. So 2x1 plus x2 equal to 5 gives us, if we update x1 and x2 values in terms of lambda 2 here, we get lambda 2 is equal to 2. Once we have lambda 2, we can obtain x1 and x2, and we got it as 2 and 1. So x1 and x2 both are positive, lambda 2 is also positive, lambda 1 is also 0. So all are either 0 or positive. Okay, and if we update these values x1 and 2 and x2 as 1 in 5th and 6th condition, we have 2 plus 1 3, that is less than or equal to 4. So 5th condition is satisfied, and update x1 as 2, so it is 4 plus x2 is 1, that's why 5, and 5 is less than or equal to 5, that's why 6th condition is also satisfied. Therefore this pair satisfying all the conditions, so we find out corresponding z max at these values of x1 and x2, and we get it as 5. Now we have case number 4, that is both are non-zero. So if both are non-zero, from condition number 3 and 4, we get, if lambda 1 is non-zero, then this bracket must be 0. So we get x1 plus x2 equal to 4, and fourth condition gives us, if lambda 2 is non-zero, then this bracket must be 0, that is 2x1 plus x2 must be 5. So if we solve them simultaneously, we get x1 is equal to 1 and x2 is equal to 3. Both are positive. Okay. Now once we have x1 and x2 values, we update in equation number 1 and 2 to get corresponding lambda 1 and lambda 2. We get lambda 2 equal to minus 4. So this is violating our 8th condition, that we must have lambda values non-negative, and that's why we reject this pair as well. Therefore only accepted value is case number 3, that is x1 equal to 2 and x2 is equal to 1, and corresponding z max value is 5 for this. Thank you.